concept, and sometimes I have a character, and sometimes I have a scene. Sometimes I'm adapting something, and then I have that. And I don't have maybe as many ideas as you think I do. Probably, but
yeah, right here.
I wanted to ask about the automaton, whatever you want to call it, and if there's any significance behind that. But mostly, I was struck by the fact that the face and the voice were different, whereas even songs on the radio were all Tom Newman's voice, and why the automaton gets to be different.
The song is about the Japanese. The song is about the automaton and why it had a different voice than the other songs say on the radio, and what it might mean.
Yeah, what the significance might be.
What the significance might be.
We won't answer that. But I will tell you that it is Jennifer Jason Lee singing. That's the voice that you're hearing. So if that leads you to something.
Yeah, and the glasses and the gray t-shirt.
I was curious if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about how you animated the faces and how you sync sound with, like, you record the dialogue first, you record dialogue after performances. I was just curious if you talk a little bit about the process.
Great. So the question is about when the voices are recorded, and then how to sync them with the faces, and how the faces themselves are animated, so the sound and the faces.
We did the voice records first. That's the very first thing we did, was get the actors together and record them all together at the same time, as if it were a play. And that set the tone for everything else that we did.
And that's very unusual, right? And doing
recording the voices first is typical, but recording the actors together is not typical. We wanted to do that because, I mean, that's what we thought would be the soul of the performance, is them interacting with each other and literally responding to each other. And going along with that theme, we kept all the breaths and the little mouth noises and things like that. Instead of cleaning up the audio, we kept all that, and the actors overlapping each other and all that. Then what happens is, you edit together an animatic with the voice records, which is storyboards edited with voice record performance and temp sound. That's the blueprint for the film.
The question is about what was the spark that created the idea for the original play?
I was doing these plays, had very little, no money and very little time, so I couldn't use a lot of actors. I was going to use 3, and I was trying to figure out a way to do a story that had more than 3 people in it. And I liked the idea that you would see, because you could see that it was only 3 people, that one person would be playing a lot of people. I read about something called the Frigoli delusion, which is a disorder in which a person believes that everybody else in the world is the same person. And that intrigued me metaphorically. Not that Michael literally has that condition, but that it suggested a kind of inability to connect with people and to see people, to see other people. So that was the spark.
And you took the name Frigoli and you used it here for the hotel.
It was originally the pen name that I wrote the thing under, but again, we couldn't get the rights to the Millennium Hotel in Cincinnati, so we decided to call it Frigoli.
I was wondering what was different experiences you had with Spike and Michael or yourself trying to put these ideas to screen, and I mean, it's going to sound a little bit weird, but which one did you prefer the most?
I much prefer myself. No, I mean, I like working with Michelle and Spike a lot, and they're very different people in personality and in their, in their personality, but they're both enormously talented, and they're both very collaborative. So I was lucky to find those people early and have the ability to interact with them in a way that I felt respected, which isn't something that screenwriters often get to feel. So I don't have a favorite among those two.
So the question is the inspiration, the design choice to have the scene between the eye.
That's a type of animation. That's how the puppets work. Those are separate. Those are replaceable pieces, and there's always going to be scene there. Other movies that do that will paint it out in post-production, and we left it because once we decided to use that type of animation, we also decided that we wanted it to be clear that it's stop-motion animation. When you start polishing stop-motion, it becomes interchangeable with computer-generated images, and you're not really feeling that handmade quality. And then we also felt like there's a kind of a fragility or a fractured quality to the puppets with those pieces like that, and it felt thematically appropriate. I think you sort of said why we did it. You know, we did it because we're trying to create this world for this character. And I think one of the advantages I think that we had, or maybe that I felt going in, is that I'd done this for an audience with a lot less information. You know, there's nothing to look at. And it's just these David and Tom talking for the first 25 minutes of the play. And when you hear Lisa, it's like this moment of kind of like, I think you feel what Michael feels, because thank God, you know, something new, and that's what the play and the movie are about. So, you know, I don't think we were trying to bore you. I think we were, you know, we have jokes in there, and we have, hopefully it's sort of interesting to look at what, you know, the sort of small puppet movements that we have. But yeah, I think we're trying to set it up to be this sort of relief when you see her, when you hear her.
And right there, close us out.
Hi, Charlie, compared to your other scripts, your screenplays take place in a lot of different places with a lot of different characters, and this is extremely intimate. Did you like that restriction of keeping it in one location with just a few characters? And did you find that frustrating or actually kind of freeing because you could focus on just those people?
No, I like that kind of thing a lot. You know, I mean, I don't do it a lot, and I did it for this because I did it as a radio play, and I had to have it simple enough that it could be, because it's still a fairly complicated thing that you're asking of the audience, and it had to be simple enough to be understood. And so that it came to be a visual thing was unexpected, but that's what we were dealing with. But you know, I've always liked, you know, Tom Noonan did this movie called What Happened Was, which is a movie I really love, and it's two characters in an apartment. And I marvel at that movie. You know, I always look at movies like that and go, because it's not boring. To me, it's like a movie. You know, and to be able to do that in a kind of, with those restrictions is kind of impressive to me. So I always look at those things. I mean, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is something I also love. But I don't, you're right, I don't generally do it because I don't think that way normally.
Well, guys, I want to thank you all for coming out on a Monday night to watch Anomalisa. This is a movie I love. And join me in thanking Duke, Rose, and Charlie for coming out.